Pagpatak ng ulan, sa pagsubok na dumaraan, may tapang kang harap, lilipad kang may pangarap. Lilipad kang may pangarap.
Kailan ay di mag-iisa, susulong ka ng may kasama, may tapang kang haharap.
Lilipad kang may pangarap. Lilipad kang may pangarap. Simula na ng bukas, ngayon na, ngayon na. Simula na ng bukas, ngayon na, ngayon na. Simula na ng bukas, ngayon na, ngayon na, ngayon na.
Sumpay sa pagbabago,
harapin ang bagong mundo. Simula na ng bukas, simula na ng bukas ngayon.
Upang may pagpatuloy ang ating layuning magbahagi ng saya sa kabila ng krisis na ito, inilulunsad ng Coca-Cola Beverages Philippines ang Balik Pinas Project. Ang layunin ng proyektong ito ay magbigay oportunidad sa ating mga OFWs na dito na sa Pilipinas manatili at magkaroon ng negosyo kasama ang kanilang mga pamilya. Ito ay makakamit sa pamamagitan ng pagbebenta ng mga produkto ng Coca-Cola.
Ako po si Billy Belleza, 45 years old, at ngayon po ay nakatira sa Naga City, Camarines Sur. Dati po akong isang OFW sa Brunei Darussalam at nagtrabaho bilang isang janitor hanggang sa maging sales manager ng isang company sa loob ng 20 years.
Ako po si Lito Manzano, dating OFW, 66 years old. Ito ang anak. Ang trabaho ko po sa barko, heavy equipment operator sa dredging. 18 years ang ginugol kong panahon.
Yung pong tindahan ng kapatid ko, wala siyang coke. So, nakapagbigay po sa akin ng idea na why not? Magtinda na rin ako ng coke, mag-deliver sa labas.
Simula po nung magkaroon ng pandemic dito sa atin, kaming pamilya ko, nag-isip din ng munting negosyo na pwedeng ikabubuhay namin. Ngayon, why not venture sa Coke? Kami lumapit sa Coca-Cola team, agad-agad kaming tinulungan ng Naga team.
Nung nagkaroon ng lockdown sa Naga, tumigil ang lahat. Nag-decide po ako na hindi kami titigil. Nung medyo nag-ease yung lockdown, dumami ang aming customers. Sa maliit na panahon na pag-deal ko sa Coke, nakikita ko po na may future.
Sa Coke, mabilis ang turnover, malaki ang demand at maraming naghahanap. Sa loob ng 5 buwan ng aming operation, umexpand na yon.
Nagpapasalamat ako sa Coca-Cola dahil nabibigyan nila ako ng kabuhayan after my career sa labas ng Pilipinas.
Nagpapasalamat ako sa mahal na Diyos, sa mga anak ko at sa Naga Coca-Cola team na walang sawang pagtulong sa amin. Sa OFW na nandito, lumapit ka kay Coke, ika'y tutulungan.
Doon din po sa mga OFW na may plano ng umuwi dito, subukan niyo po na gawin ang nagawa ko, hindi po kayo magsisisi.
Mahigit 100 taon na ang Coca-Cola sa Pilipinas at ito ay naging bahagi na ng kultura ng mga Pilipino. Sa bawat handaan, selebrasyon, kasiyahan o maging sa mga pagsubok, lagi nating kasama ang Coca-Cola. Ngayon, higit kailanman, mas kailangan ng bawat Pilipino ang tulong ng isa't isa. Asahan ninyong gagawin namin ang lahat ng aming makakaya upang matulungan kayong mag-umpisang muli. Kami, ang Coca-Cola Beverages Philippines.
The Philippine Daily Inquirer would like to thank the following sponsors for making this live stream event possible. Coca-Cola Beverages Philippines Incorporated, Bangon Pinas, providing sustainable business opportunities for modern Filipino heroes. Globe My Business, your negosyo built better with Globe My Business. Pay Maya, Smart, Simple, Smart ako. PLDT, and Union Bank. Bank the way you live. We'd also like to acknowledge the organizations that have partnered with us. Thank you to Philippine Association of National Advertisers, PANA, Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, PCCI, Registered Financial Planner Philippines, RFP, Philippine Business for Social Progress, PBSP, British Chamber of Commerce Philippines, BCCP, League of Corporate Foundation, LCF, Subdivision and Housing Developers Association, SHDA, Philippine Software Industry Association, PSIA, Public Relations Society of the Philippines, PRSP, Philippine Business for Education, PBED, Philippine Retailers Association, PRA, Philippine Association of Agriculturists Incorporated, PAA, the Shareholders Association of the Philippines, SharePhil, Philippine Disaster Resilience Foundation, PDRF. We'd also like to thank Inquirer.net, Mega Mobile, and Inquirer Academy.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the Inquirer Project Rebound webinar series presented by the Philippine Daily Inquirer. My name is Tina Arceo Dumlao, the Business Features Editor of the Philippine Daily Inquirer. And with me here is Dax Lucas, our Senior Writer-Editor, who will be my co-moderator for this live stream event. The COVID-19 pandemic and the resulting lockdowns have dealt a heavy blow on the economy. Millions of Filipinos were left jobless, thousands of companies were forced to close, and thousands more have had to downsize to ride out the downturn. But all is not lost. Almost a year into the crisis, the Philippines has begun its journey to recovery with stimulus measures and policies in place. Filipino companies, groups, and individuals have also shown their resilience and are slowly regaining their footing. The Philippine Daily Inquirer, along with its sister companies, seeks to do its share to help the Philippines bounce back from this unprecedented crisis by doing what it does best: tell the stories that empower the Filipino. Through Project Rebound, the Philippine Daily Inquirer will share expert insights and inspiring stories how businesses can accelerate the recovery, how to retool and recalibrate to survive and even thrive amid the COVID-19 pandemic in collaboration with government, civil society, and the private sector. With its 67 million strong reach across multimedia platforms, the Inquirer Group is indeed in a favorable position to inspire a rebound from the crisis. Together, we can and will overcome.
This afternoon, our topic is Back in Business, finding new growth opportunities and strategies for MSMEs. That's micro, small, and medium enterprises. As we all know, the last few months have been tough on the economy, with smaller businesses having to bear the ill effects of the pandemic disproportionately. So what we'll try to do today, with the help of our subject matter experts, is to provide guideposts and insights for entrepreneurs to help them navigate this challenging environment going forward. We hope that this discussion and information campaign will drive the revival of the economy, not just in the cities, but in the countryside as well. Ina?
Yeah, before we introduce our guests, we'd like to give an exclusive offer for our viewers. The Philippine Daily Inquirer is offering a 30-day free trial of its digital edition, Inquirer Plus. We are flashing the details on your screen on how to take advantage of this exclusive offer. To more about the Inquirer Plus subscription, please visit shop.inquirer.com.ph. And now for our speakers. Our first is a good friend, Rene Butch Maley. Butch is the president of the Philippine Disaster Resilience Foundation, a private sector disaster management organization that includes many of the major business groups in the country. Philippine Long Distance Telephone Company, PLDT, his parent company, received the 2016 Prince of Wales Business and Community UPS International Disaster Relief Prize for its work in mobilizing PDRF during Super Typhoon Haiyan. PDRF currently operates the world's only national private sector emergency operations center. Butch is also the president of Idea Space Foundation, a technology accelerator for early stage startup companies. He heads QBO Innovation Hub, a public-private partnership launched to mentor startups. He's also currently the president of Pacific Global One, a firm formed from PLDT's aviation group. Good afternoon, Butch.
Good afternoon, Tina and Dax. Thanks for the great introduction, and I'm honored to be here with the Inquirer's top 2 journalists.
Thanks.
Thank you,
Dax.
Butch.
The most dangerous journalist.
No, we're all friends here. So anyway, thank you, Butch. Now we have our next speaker, Manuel G. Chut Santiago Jr. Chut holds the position of Executive Vice President and Chief Mass Market and Financial Inclusion Executive at the Union Bank of the Philippines, a very good digital bank, if you know what I'm talking about. He leads the bank's efforts to serve the unbanked and underbanked markets. He currently serves as a director of PetNet Inc. and Progressive Bank Inc. He was also the former chairman of First Union Direct Credit Corporation, which is a subsidiary of Union Bank. Prior to this, he was Senior Vice President and Head of Consumer Finance Center, managing home loans, auto loans, personal loans, and the credit card business. So if you need a loan, he's the man to go to. He previously worked as Director of Operations in American Express Bank in Indonesia and Director of Operations in American Express International, Manila. And previous to that, he held various positions at the very prestigious Citibank NA Manila. Good afternoon, Jude.
Hi, hello, Dax, Tina, and everyone watching today. I'm happy to be here to share whatever thoughts we have in helping the MSMEs.
Yeah, thank you, Truth. We'll get back to you later. Our third speaker is Raymond Villanueva. Raymond holds an MBA from the University of San Francisco and has worked for Fortune 500 companies, leading marketing and analytics organizations within Yahoo and The Gap. In 2013, Raymond moved back to the Philippines and hopes to further digital within the region. Raymond is currently the director and head of enterprise growth in Paymaya. He's responsible for expanding cashless payments among enterprises in the Philippines. Good afternoon, Raymond.
Good afternoon to everyone. Tina, Dax, papasalamat ako sa inyo. Thank you to the Inquirer for making Paymaya part of a very important discussion on how we tackle one of the most important sectors of our country's economic recovery, mga MSME. Lapit po sa puso namin yan. We know that the economy of the Philippines is really, at the backs of the MSMEs. So thank you for inviting us.
Thank you. And completing our panel is Grace Anduisa. Grace has 17 years of experience in telco and has handled broadband, prepaid, trade marketing, merchandising, and account management, which includes working closely with customers in their digital transformation aided by technology. She has set up and led a transformation team in Globe My Business to pivot from the traditional method of client servicing to becoming trusted business advisors. Currently, she heads the customer success team that champions partnerships with clients, likened to a value chain that handholds SMEs in their journey from inception to their whole tenure. She also heads the people development and engagement team that handles capability building support for employees by providing opportunities for learning across different formats and platforms. Good afternoon, Grace.
Good afternoon, Tina. Good afternoon, Dax. I'm really glad to be here because this is a topic that is really close to our hearts. Alam mo naman, ang SME is the backbone ng ating industriya. So very, very happy to be here and we're glad to share what we can for the SMEs on how they can be back in business. Thank you.
True. And I really hope we'll get that sooner than later. I guess that on that note, we can start after all the introductions, we can begin the meat of this discussion. For our first question, everyone has an anecdotal figure, no? But I was wondering from where you sit, how huge do you think the impact of the pandemic has been on MSMEs in particular? Not just the listed companies that we're seeing the earnings results coming out, but in your field, how big of an impact has it really been? We could start with Butch, since you have, I guess, a more generic view of what has happened to our MSMEs. Mute.
Well, it's been bad, as you mentioned. Many businesses have closed. Many of those will never reopen. Early during the pandemic, we had a focus group and a webinar with 400 sari-sari store owners, and they were all women. And being able to see the nanais there, you could see that they were scared to reopen, and you can't blame them. No? And they had to put in all these plastic dividers and all these things, but they're really risking their lives. But according to an ADB estimate, 70% of MSMEs closed during a portion of the pandemic. Our hope is that many of them will come back and recover. Those that didn't close had to lay off quite a lot of workers.
Yeah, how about you, Chut, for UBP? How do you see it? How has it played out according to what you see?
Yeah, just to add to what Butch was saying, in the first 2 months of the lockdown last year, 70% of businesses actually closed down. What does that mean? It means that 70% had zero sales, right? And clearly, the impact on the economy was seen in the first quarter of last year, where we've seen the biggest drop in GDP. While we're still in negative GDP growth, we've seen a slow recovery, and from the 17% drop in the second quarter last year, I think the last number recorded was about 4% in the first quarter of 2021. So that's a good sign. And of those that actually were able to operate during the last 12 months, the impact on sales is about 40% drop, right? So if for every 100 pesos that they were earning, they lost 40% of that, and then they were left with 60. So you'll see that it's really it's really a bad situation. But the light we're seeing is that the economy is recovering, and we hope to be able to provide the engines that will further help this economy go back to positive growth.
Okay, we'll get back to that in a bit now. Raymond, how about you? Do you see the same thing? I mean, is there reason to be optimistic?
I'll try to take naman the optimistic side. Yeah, MSMEs, actually all parts of our economy have deeply felt the effect of the pandemic, and it's quite apparent actually. Just you going out, you could feel it. Fewer assets coming out, limited cash reserve, but we're also seeing some bright spots that at least a little bit from my point of view, coming in as a fintech, we're starting to see the rise of new types of business that are, I guess, here to stay. I would say e-commerce and digital payments were one of the spots. I wouldn't call it the bright spots, because the pandemic is obviously felt by everyone. But the transition towards those spaces, if our data is any indication, digital payments grew 4x just in March 2021 compared to the same period last year. So we are seeing the digitization happens. Ika nga nila, this pandemic is really the digital CTO of everyone. Right? This pandemic is the one that really made the push for everyone to digitize themselves. Now, sa MSMEs, I guess the bright spot that I was talking about is that, companies like us and our friends from bank and GCash and everybody has now built tools that are really helping the MSMEs kind of bounce back. But when we call about the bounce back, medyo iba na yung itsura. Medyo e-commerce na, digital is almost the default. Digital payments is the default. E-commerce is now the default. It's even leading some of those efforts moving forward. So I guess, that's my point of view with that. If there's anything, it has progressed us moving forward, and hopefully this step forward allows us to be a lot more competitive, not just within the Philippines, but also within the region moving forward. Because once you digitize, bilis yung ekonomiya and the regional approach and the regional access opens up as well. So, that's my point of view naman on that.
Hey, thank you. Grace, do you share the same view? I'm sure you guys are seeing the same, no? Considering the trillion peso in terms of value of transactions that Globe reported. I mean,
Yeah.
GCash.
Aside from seeing everything, there is also the different surveys. It's actually closer to home because it's some of our friends are SMEs. In fact, some of my office mates are SMEs also, and we're seeing the impact it has had on their different businesses. Some are afraid that will I make the next payroll? How will I pay my rent? But then the good thing or the positive impact of all this is it brought out the Filipino side of in all of us, the resiliency. No matter what happens, we will bounce back. We will find ways. Matagal lang nga for others, pero alam mo yun, dahan-dahan, nakikita na natin yung improvement. But still, there's a lot of work to be done, and really, we salute all the SMEs na talagang risking their lives day by day. Iba kasi if you're working for a bigger corporation rather than an SME, di ba? Na talagang every single peso counts. So yun yung talagang nakikita natin. People are, starting to bounce back, but still, nandun pa rin, slowly. But that's why, like what Raymond said, we're all here to find ways to help out. Kasi we're also given the chance to listen to the stories of our clients, di ba? Yun yung nakuha natin ngayon.
Okay. Dax?
Thank you, guys. Okay, so we have a lot of MSME entrepreneurs tuned in right now, watching in via Facebook. And for their benefit, I'd like to pick the brains of our guest this afternoon. Could you tell me from where you stand, what is the common thread that binds together those businesses that have failed or are struggling to the point of failure? And what is that element, that silver bullet that made some people really stand out? What allowed them to thrive, so to speak? So let's go around. I mean, Butch, please, if you have anything.
Sure. Thanks, Dax. I think let me focus on the successes. The businesses that were able to be flexible and adapt. Businesses like startups, tech-enabled startups, that's been a bright spot for the Philippine economy. I think some of the common elements are the need to assure the safety of the consumer. People are not going to go back to stores, malls, restaurants, movie houses, unless they feel safe. And even the smallest of businesses, like I mentioned, sari-sari stores, they have to put in these safety protocols to ensure that people feel safe when they shop. Otherwise, they're not going to come back. The other enabler, I think, is the internet connectivity. At no other time, the pandemic has really accelerated the digitalization of the economy by at least 10 years. And we've all had to learn quickly, especially people from a certain generation, how to make use of all these apps, how to register for vaccines, and whether it's shopping online, that's done very well. Entertainment online, I mean, we're streaming services now like anything. And even things like crowdfunding for loans to SMEs. There are a couple of startups. One is Suki Plus that makes loans to sari-sari stores. Investri, that's a crowdfunding platform for loans to small businesses. There are something called Rentmo, which wherein you can rent apartments and anything else by going on that platform. So there are all these new things that are happening around the country. So those are the things that are important: the safety, internet connectivity, and hopefully the fast tracking of the vaccination. Because once we have the vaccination, we'll be able to hopefully someday return to what life was like in 2019.
All right. Thanks, Butch. Chut, let me adjust that question slightly for your banker's mind. Okay. What kind of small business would a banker like yourself be comfortable dealing with? Say they need a partnership for payments or they need a working capital loan. What will make you say, okay, this guy's okay, and this guy, okay, maybe not. So share with us your thoughts there.
Yeah, well, let me let me I guess describe the market, right? The the pandemic have divided the market into two. Those that were badly hit and those that have thrived. Now, if you look at those firms that were badly hit, transportation, construction, manufacturing, education, services, what is the common among those businesses? It's the brick and mortar. It's the face-to-face, right? And if you look at those winners where, they not only maintain their businesses, but have actually gained a lot, from this pandemic. Their sales doubled, their businesses booming. That's power, energy, technology, communication. And what's common among these things? And even if you look at the retail trade that we have today, right? What is common among those things? It's technology. It's the digital infrastructure. And the short answer to your question, Dax, is that what will bind them here is really technology, communication, infrastructure.
Fantastic. Thank you. Again, let me tweak that question for Raymond and Grace. So here I am a brick and mortar business. What do I do now? I mean, you can't tell me I'm hopeless, right? And you two guys, Raymond and Grace, are what will enable me to go forward. Please share with me your thoughts on what I need to do. Raymond, please. Oh, sorry, Grace, please, ladies first.
Alas, ladies first.
I just got excited. No, kasi I've had the privilege of working with SMEs because part of what I do is business consultancy also. So we've heard their stories, and then ang maganda kasi what we offer is, alam mo yon, yung how to bounce back is just taking that first step eh. Kasi syempre, natatakot ka, anong gagawin ko, hindi ko alam gagawin ko. And then you have somebody that you can talk to. We offer consultation, we offer enablement services na it's not really just selling you something, but it's really getting to know you, especially yung mga existing clients namin. You'd be surprised of their resiliency na talaga and yung agility nila. Some who have focused on business attire have shifted to a different mode of business. They shifted to comfortable or Zoom ready loungewear, or those that have started. It was very, very interesting stories that you hear from them. And then we get to talk about, okay, we help them with right sizing. Kasi minsan you don't need like a connectivity before. I need high connectivity, but since not everybody reports to the office, they have to work from home. So we help them right size. Ito ba yung kailangan mo ngayon? How can we help you out? It's not about, there's the human side of the business that comes out. It's not all about, making a profit, making money, but seeing these businesses get back on their feet is just so interesting. I don't know if you've seen our ad last year, kaya sobrang, it was close to our hearts, yung Saludo SMEs, na you see them bouncing back, you see them, turning that sign na we're open again. That was just so powerful and so good. And having the privilege to work with our SMEs in that sense, it was just really a great thing. So the silver bullet is, agility, grit, and lumalabas ang diskarte. I guess that's what's important.
Thank you, Grace. I mean, we can feel your enthusiasm from here.
True.
Raymond, sorry, you'll have to think of another answer.
Yeah, sabayan ko yung energy. So I guess, I've been doing a couple of webinars throughout the past year, and now I've solidified my advice into three things. The first one is a mindset. Digital is now the default. I think that's one of the deepest lines that cut through across. If people are still thinking na kaya na restaurant without a digital presence, I think that's one of the biggest steps. Digital is now the default. You have to move your efforts into digital. The second one is how, right? How do I actually approach digital? What is the formula for e-commerce? How do I start this? The best approach that I have is the ABCs of running or creating a digital business. I actually call it the CCC. The first one is connectivity. Siyempre, itatout ko ang aking mga kapatid from PLDT, right? So, sorry, Globe. PLDT Home, PLDT Enterprise, definitely best connection, best fiber. But more than anything, you do need to be connected all the time. Smart. But the second two C's is the commerce part. You need a storefront online. Now, it doesn't have to be a complex e-commerce solution. It could be just a web page from Facebook. It could be a messenger via Facebook. In fact, bulk of e-commerce transactions happens with PMSIS, diba? So that is the second front. Now, the third C is cashless. It actually spurs your business. The best advice that I could give, it legitimizes your business right away. The moment you say, I accept, Paymaya, Visa, MasterCard, JCB, PayPal, GCash, GrabPay, and all of that, legit ka agad. Now, that is the insight that I picked up. The last one is for those naman that can't do e-commerce. Sabihin na lang natin, resorts and all of those things. If the US is any indicator of somebody that has swinging, roaring back within their economy, papalo ulit yan. Meaning lahat lalabas ulit. Siyempre, we've been cooped up for almost a year and a half, and ang excited lumabas lahat ng tao. Now, during the lull period, which is now and possibly 3 months down, you need to prepare for your bounce back. And what does that mean? You need to start bringing in the digital tools, shoring up your digital presence so that pag pumalo yan, maganda yung marketing mo. You need your cashless payment so that if a person wants to pay using Paymaya, if a person wants to pay using Visa, equip ka agad. And I think that's one of the best advices. Like during this period of lull, you need to future-proof your business. Now, there's a lot of advices, tools, webinars that you can join, but I think it's just more of a mindset thing that you have to prepare for the palu pabalik. So yun, going back, digital is now the default. The ABCs of creating a digital business, connectivity, commerce, and cashless. And you got to prepare for the bounce back while there is a lull period.
Fantastic. Feel energized. All right.
Yeah. Oh man, sayang. We'll just when things are getting better, we'll have to cut for a break. But don't worry, we still have another whole half. But for now, we'll have a quick break. So stay tuned for more.
The Philippine Daily Inquirer would like to thank the following sponsors for making this live stream event possible. Coca-Cola Beverages Philippines Incorporated. Bangon Pinas, providing sustainable business opportunities for modern Filipino heroes. Globe My Business, your negosyo built better with Globe My Business. Paymaya, Smart, Simple, Smart Ako. PLDT and Union Bank, bank the way you live. We'd also like to acknowledge the organizations that have partnered with us. Thank you to Philippine Association of National Advertisers, PANA, Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, PCCI, Registered Financial Planner Philippines, RFP, Philippine Business for Social Progress, PBSP, British Chamber of Commerce Philippines, BCCP, League of Corporate Foundation, LCF, Subdivision and Housing Developers Association, SHDA, Philippine Software Industry Association, PSIA, Public Relations Society of the Philippines, PRSP, Philippine Business for Education, PBED, Philippine Retailers Association, PRA, Philippine Association of Agriculturists Incorporated, PAA, the Shareholders Association of the Philippines, SharePhil, Philippine Disaster Resilience Foundation, PDRF. We'd also like to thank Inquirer.net, Mega Mobile, and Inquirer Academy.
Where am I? Welcome, Dante. Let me show you around. Please, write legibly. Wait po. Teka.
Thank you. Next.
I need to pay my bills.
I need to pay my bill. Yan. Enroll nyo muna mga billers nyo.
What? With my UB Online, no need to enroll to pay my bills. Pwedeng free yung fund transfer and one valid ID lang, naka-open na ako ng account via app. I don't belong here.
Napansin mo ba, mas madalas ka nang magsabi ng stay safe kesa bye-bye? At aminin mo, nawili ka sa TikTok, hindi para mapasaya ang sarili, kundi para mapatawang iba. Napansin mo rin ba, na palagi na kayong kumpleto pag nagsisimba? At sino mag-aakala na ang daming maglalabas ang internet celebrities ngayon? Ilang pagkain na bang na-order mo? Kahit di ka naman gutom, uhaw ka lang makatulong. At nakailang care emojis ka nang nasend mula ng ECQ. Pansin mo, iba na bigla ang go-to playlist mo. Alam mo rin bang mas maraming naglalabas ng pera ngayon? Kahit taghirap? Alam mo kung bakit? Kasi patuloy mang magbago ang mundo, isang bagay ang mananatili.
Malalampasan din natin to.
Hindi tayo mawawalan ng pag-asa. Kaya patuloy namin pinapanatili pinakamabilis at pinakamalawak ang inyong network. So we can all be connected by hope.
Mas pinadali at pinabilis na ang pag-accept ng payments para sa iyong online business with PayMaya Negosyo. Sa PayMaya Negosyo app, pwede kang tumanggap ng safe and contactless payments mula sa iyong customers anytime, anywhere. Via QR code, send money transfers, or bank transfers. Mobile number mo lang, pwede ka na nilang bayaran. Madali lang ang pag-sign up. I-download lang sa Google Play Store and register for free. Be a PayMaya Negosyo merchant in just 2 days with no monthly fees. Learn more about PayMaya Negosyo. I-visit ang www.paymaya.com/negosyo-merchant today.
Hello again, everyone. Thank you once again for tuning in to the Inquirer Project Rebound webinar series presented by the Philippine Daily Inquirer. Now we come to the second part of our program, and we have more questions waiting to be answered. Let's start off with this one. Dax?
All right. We have a two-part question from the registered financial planners, and please, anyone can jump in. Is it good business to go into delivery service apps right now? And that's the first question. The second question is, I suppose, asking you if you've had any direct or indirect experience in this economy. Have you retrenched employees over the last 6 months? Right. Anyone, please. Delivery apps, employee retrenchment.
Just do this quickly, but delivery apps would be great. I think that's a great area to go into. You might be a little late in terms, but the sooner you get into it, the better. If you want to try a resource, it's a free resource, public-private sector partnership with the government. It's QBO Innovation Hub, and it's free to everybody. So check it out if you want to help, if you want to start a company or go into this space. Thanks.
Yeah,
Retrench,
right.
We're hiring because the disaster business is always booming.
That's not a good
right.
thing to say, Butch. Grace, you are going to say something,
Yeah.
Grace.
Dun sa delivery apps, I mean, if you were to start your own, I don't think would be a good time, especially if you're an SME, because there's a lot of platforms that are currently available right now that you can just, join and then take part in that. Especially like one of the things that we're experiencing right now in the GCash app, yung G Life. You start seeing all these different companies or parang different businesses starting to join that platform, and then there's Grab. So there's all of that, because it's very expensive to set up your own, but joining or being part of an existing platform would be great at this time. And to answer your second question, glad to say we have. So
You have not. You have not.
Yes.
Okay. Good.
we can save in other ways, but at least in that way, hindi pa naman.
Fantastic. Okay, Raymond, Jude.
In real quick, on the delivery app, I think you have to look at the scale and also the opportunity. At the end of the day, it's not just about creating an app for delivery, but also, is there a need for it anymore? Definitely, NCR, it's kind of covered already by so many competitors out there. But in the provinces, hindi nang naman NCR ang probinsya ang tinitirahan. There is possibly some opportunities out there wherein, I guess, these more established delivery apps are not yet there. I agree with also just jumping in and leveraging the benefits of Foodpanda and Grab, and PayMaya has our own Maya Mall, the same way GCash has. But I think that's one of the opportunities, because we do see it. We do see these delivery apps popping up in the provinces. I think there is an absolute opportunity there that people can take advantage of. I think, just looking at it from the NCR point of view is possibly not just, that's not the holistic Philippines. On the retrenchment, we've been lucky, actually, that we have not. Our employees are our most important asset. So we value protecting the business and employees first, and the welfare muna. So I guess we're one of those industries that is a little bit more lucky versus the others. Thank you.
I guess I'm the last. Yeah. To answer I'll answer the second question first in terms of retrenchment. We haven't, and we don't have plans to. The jobs are changing, and so we have actually started transforming our people's competency as well. So we're doing a lot of people tech initiatives within the bank, and we have made a commitment to our people that no one will get left behind. So that's on that side.
Excellent.
On the delivery app side, I think I agree with what have been said, but I think a lot of focus have been made in the major cities, Metro Manila, the metro cities, the metro area, and I think there's a lot of opportunity in areas outside of the key cities. In my experience, I've been locked out of Metro Manila when the MECQ was declared the second time, and in the last 2 months, my problem has always been finding someone to deliver things to me here where I am. Right? You have the big names, right? But within the local locations, right? If I wanted to buy in a restaurant down in the city, I can't, right? If I want to send something to someone in Manila, I can't do it, right? So I think there's an opportunity. One thing is clear, that the landscape is changing, and we just have to open our eyes, because there's a lot of opportunities out there that will benefit our entrepreneurs.
Yeah,
Jude,
speaking of,
were you one of those? Were you one of those
Locked out.
lucky ones who got stuck at the beach?
I guess my laughter will provide the answer.
He is.
All right, Tina, take it away.
Yeah, because I was gonna follow up on the change. Because this is an interesting question from the Public Relations Society of the Philippines, and ang tanong nila, what consumer behavior do you think will forever change? I mean, what was the behavior before, and what is the behavior now during the pandemic, and will we go back as we expected it pre quarantine, or we're not going to go back there at all, even with vaccination? So what consumer behavior has changed? Will we be forever takeout, or will be still going to be dining in?
Can I be the first can I be the first this time?
Sure.
Yeah, well, I think my thought here is that, we've seen a massive change in consumer behavior, and a lot of the digital platforms, if you would look at their business results over the past 12 months, have either doubled, tripled, quadrupled. You look at the numbers, it's there.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact, the longer this pandemic takes, the more change that the consumer behavior will experience, right? And therefore, if you're asking the question whether we're going to go back to face-to-face, maybe in some way, because there are certain things that you need to do face-to-face, but the magnitude of digital transactions and the magnitude of digital engagement will definitely be the major, if not the new normal.
Okay. How about the two? Would you agree? Grace and Raymond. Like, for example, just for some context, like Pure Gold reported their results, no? And what they said was that fewer people the frequency has declined going to the grocery, but they're buying more.
Yes.
So, behavior change like that. Do you see that in your field? So what specific changes have you seen, for example? And will it go back? Will it forever change?
Go ahead.
To start with, there's acceptance already. Kasi before, people were waiting and trying to see, okay, what's going to happen next? But, it's been a year or a bit more than a year, then there's acceptance now, okay, it's not going to change. And then people were more courageous to shift to not from the traditional way of doing things now. And then before, kasi they were all hesitating, especially kunwari cloud services. People were afraid to go into cloud. Why? They were afraid to lose their data. They think it was just so tedious or hard to make that shift. But now they felt like they had no choice. And then now they're seeing the benefits of that first step that they've taken. And schools, because we also cover schools, for example. A lot of schools were still very traditional, that they like the face-to-face mode of doing things, even if we were trying for quite some time now to at least encourage them to go into blended learning through a learning management system platform. But because of what happened last year, that all schools were closed, but classes had to go on, So they started shifting, they started all adopting to the learning management system. And aside from that, what we've noticed is different adjustments. That's why we had to strengthen our enablement and training services, because you had a different mode of parang training had to be done for the parents, for the students and the teachers, how they can adapt to this new way of doing things. So I think that's it. Ano lang talaga, it's understanding what they have to focus on right now, and at least they've taken that first step and slowly realizing the benefits of shifting to a different form of environment, a digital environment, going cashless, purchasing things online, and even the ways of working. It's not going to be 5 days. Some are already considering that it's not 5 days a week anymore to go to the office. It could just be like twice a week could work from home. And it could ease a lot of things like traffic and all that. So, slowly but surely you're seeing a lot of changes, and these changes are positive in some ways. Actually, in a lot of ways. So yeah.
How about you, Raymond? Do you agree?
I agree with the first two speakers here, but I'll add a little bit of my spin into it. The things that I'm seeing now is we're starting to go into a couple of new trends that are happening in the Philippines. The first one is what I call the second phase of e-commerce. In the US and every time they go towards this first phase of e-commerce where it was eBay and Amazon. In the Philippines, it's Shopee and Lazada and Grab and Foodpanda. But now more and more, we're starting to see the MSMEs, the businesses create their own e-commerce shops. And I think that is a critical insight because now more and more, we're starting to see people move out of these marketplaces or create a secondary presence that is just for their own. I think that customer insight is coming from, I guess consumers are just so used to doing e-commerce already. And now people are taking advantage that this is now the new normal. Your digital presence, your commerce, your storefront is no longer just your store. Now, the biggest drawback that I always hear from my webinars is that people are scared to invest in these platforms because they're not used to it. Imagine, ang tao kayang magpaganda ng store nila worth 100,000 pesos, pero yung platform na 10,000 pesos to create an e-commerce shop, ayaw nilang gastosan because they're not used to spending that way. So I guess it's more of a mindset thing, but definitely more and more entrepreneurs are going to the second phase of e-commerce. The next one that I'm seeing more and more is actually going beyond NCR and this tourism bounce back. I have seen people migrate out of NCR and go back to their provinces and actually live there because they have seen that working from home or actually a split type arrangement, flexible arrangement is actually possible and productive. So I guess more and more we're going to see this diaspora of coming into the provinces back again. And that's why I was so keen on getting these beyond NCR thematics into, I guess, the conversation today. I personally am one of them. I'm looking to move out of Manila and go into a province and actually try to work from there on a split type arrangements. Crossing my fingers that I make it there.
Nako, you'll join through. Butch, ikaw, I guess your question, because you're in the startup industry, I was just wondering if you think these changes that we've seen and discussed here earlier, will they be permanent? Will we go back to how we were pre-COVID or not anymore?
No, I think I agree with a lot of the panel here. I think we're moving into a different world. It's changed us. Depending on your, you can really work from home more and it really avoids the traffic. For women, you can roll out of your bed and don't have to put on makeup and just jump into a Zoom and just keep your...
Who says? We'll never do that, Butch.
Marami gumagawa nun. But you don't even have to dress up. Just the top, you have to dress up. The bottom, you can wear shorts. But so I think Zoom meetings are here to stay because there's no need to fly people around. No need really for a face-to-face in a lot of ways. And we found it much easier to bring in provincial participants. So we've had webinars from people from Jolo, Zamboanga, Cagayan de Oro. I mean, you name it. And they're so happy to be part of this Zoom experience. It means actually a lot more to them. And I agree with Raymond that a lot of people are moving out because they're finding it's healthier, maybe happier and less stressful if they work from the beach or the province, the place there, and just join meetings by Zoom and do everything online. But in terms of startups, it's a bright spot for the Philippine economy because they're really coming up with all kinds of companies here.
Okay. Quickly, just one question for me before our final one. To your mind, what is maybe the one thing that you think MSMEs can do to recover this year, 2021? If they have so-and-so budget, what should they do with it? What's their priority to recover this year? I'll start with you again, Butch, this time.
Okay. I guess the number one priority is really just making sure that their customers feel safe. For face-to-face businesses, stores, malls, people aren't going to go back unless they feel that they're safe. And so the vaccination rates have to be much faster. I think that's important. That's a key for them. No? Otherwise, it's not going to happen. And the other area is digitalization of the business. They've been talking about digitalizing sari-sari stores and all that, and different kinds of business. If you can pivot to a business model where you can take advantage of the internet and do business there, I think it's going to benefit you in the long run.
Okay, thank you. How about you, Chut? If 2020 is the year the pivot, how about this year?
For me, it's transformation. The businesses need to evolve. At the minimum, from a brick and mortar to at least a brick and click, meaning having an online presence, if not altogether, a purely digital engagement. So there's room to adjust, and from where they are right now, as I said, they can move to the next level of creating their online presence.
Okay, thank you, Raymond.
I would say invest in your people and your family first, right? Try to get vaccinated. I think that's basic priority, I would say. But more than that, I agree. It's creating this omni-channel or online and face-to-face kind of like presence already. Digital is the default. I've mentioned that earlier. Invest in digital payments beyond just one or two. I would say accept all forms of payments. You don't know what customer wants to pay with. Syempre, it's a very fintech or Paymaya centered answer. I would say should be able to accept all forms of payments. But the other one is actually create extra sources of income. That's one of the key things that I saw with MSMEs. Just to give you an example, we actually run Smart Padala. It's a Paymaya business, and it's actually on the back of another business. We have seen that become their main business. Nung nawala I guess, the hardware store, it became a Smart Padala main source of income. Now, that diversification is actually pretty critical, especially now for MSMEs. The big businesses can focus on their big ones and their big bets. But for MSMEs, I think you have to look at the extra sources of income, going digital as part of it. I know it's a lot of work, and the partners are here. The good thing is all the digital partners do offer MSME tools, including Paymaya. So jump in now so that you learn how to take advantage of it early.
Thank you. And Grace, last but not least.
I think it's understanding what the customers need. Kasi we are the SMEs, they are also consumers as well, di ba? So it's really prioritizing and trying to find out, okay, what will make a difference to my customers? I think that is important, and that's one of the biggest things that you could really work on it, di ba? Putting the customer at the center of everything. And I guess it's looking for a partner also na as you focus for digital transformation, for example, as you focus on your main business, you can find a partner who can help you with all the other requirements. Kasi yun naman the thing with SMEs, di ba? Para kang all-in-one, you do everything. You're the admin, you're the ganyan. So if you find a partner and outsource some of the requirements, then I think it helps you focus on your business and it helps you bounce back faster. So yeah, that will be it.
Okay, thank you. Dax?
Fantastic. Okay, guys, just so that our entrepreneurs who are tuned in get a view of the future. Everyone here has shared their medium to long-term view of the future. It looks great. But from now until the end of the year or until this pandemic ends, what does it look like? This weird period, what does it look like from where you stand for your MSME partners? And if you could just glance into your crystal ball over the short term. Butch, if you can start, please.
Well, I've heard some CEOs say that 2021 may be a lost year, no? If the
Again?
Maybe a lost year. Well, I've heard some CEOs say that, but if the vaccines don't happen, if they don't come in soon, and they're worried about it. But in terms of businesses, as we've talked about, online fitness, exercise, healthy eating, delivery services, diet, those are the kinds of things I think people will be looking for. And until people realize it's safe enough to go out and eat, shop, watch movies, it's going to take us a while to get back here. But having said that, PDRF offers a number of free resources. Seekup.com.ph is a free resource. We have it with the UN and other bodies. It provides how do you get a loan, and it provides online mentoring for small businesses. So please take advantage of that. And we've got a platform called iAdapt, which is an online platform for business continuity so that small businesses can continue to operate during a crisis.
Thank you. All right. Chut, a technology-oriented banker like yourself, what kind of short-term prognosis do you have for the MSME sector?
At the start of the year, we thought that we're gonna go into recovery this year. Unfortunately, the last 2 months happened, particularly where the major commerce is happening in Metro Manila, and that would result into a delay in terms of the recovery. However, the vaccines, the vaccination plans are quite aggressive, and if it so happens, we should still see some recovery towards the latter part of the third quarter or maybe the fourth quarter. Yeah, and my advice to the MSMEs is that they don't need to wait for the recovery to start, right? They can keep their businesses afloat by starting to transform, right? Creating their online presence, learning their markets. This is the time to prepare so that when the economy fully opens, hopefully sooner rather than later, that their businesses are ready and they can say, we're open for business.
Fantastic. Thank you. Okay. Our two incorrigible optimists, Grace and Raymond. What does it look like going forward over the short term? What can they do to take advantage of this, period of flux? Grace, please go ahead.
I think by now, SMEs have already understood what works and what doesn't work. I think that's what's important. That you understand your business more and how you go about it, how you navigate through all of this. Different industries, different types of companies will recover or bounce back at a different pace. And we've seen that the past years. In fact, the past year pala. Sorry. In fact, pag tinignan mo, I was reading about this and in a DTI study in 2020 that there were a lot more businesses that have registered compared to the others, but these are alam mo yung mga backyard businesses and then sila yung nag-boom kasi it was they were doing things in a simple manner, and then I think they were the first to adopt to make use of the different digital tools kasi very important talaga yan. Some of the brick and mortar businesses were afraid to take that leap because they were doing okay naman. But unless you're faced with, when your back is against the wall, that's when you're forced to bounce back and really do something different. And that's what I'm seeing at the end of the year. Na, at saka Filipinos tayo. Filipinos have always been known to be resilient and we will bounce back. Madiskarte nga tayo eh. No matter what happens, we will find ways. Para-paraan. And then that's what I'm seeing until the end of the year. I'd like to be really optimistic about it. Diba? We have to be.
Fabulous.
That's true.
Raymond, please infect our audience with your optimism.
Yeah, I echo that 100%. Actually, I do come from the US and all my friends have been telling me out there na yung palo nila right after the pandemic. The travel, all hotels are booked, everywhere you can't get a table in a restaurant. And I'm very hopeful, and I'm actually, praying that that's the same bounce back that we see in our country as well. But there are some steps that you can do right now. Consumers natin are primarily digital already. If you look at everyone out there, everyone's using Facebook and probably tuned in right now watching on their phones. But the MSMEs are not yet. In fact, that's one of the biggest gap opportunities that we see. There are several platforms that are just super aggressive. Paymaya, Negosyo is one of them. Obviously, our competitors and friends are others. And you got to take advantage of that. While the incentives, the offers, the learnings, the webinars, the push, the focus is there. Kasi the platforms are aggressive in providing the services. So during this, I would call it digital preparation period. Let's not call it na lang na we're back in ECQ, diba? So to the eyes of the MSME, let's call it the digital preparation period. You gotta start bringing in the platform so that you learn faster. Kasi pag pumalo yan, mabilis yan. So that's possibly the most, simplest advice I could give.
Thank you. Well, there's so much more really that we want to discuss, but sadly, that's all the time we have now for this edition of the Inquirer Project Rebound webinar on MSMEs. Once again, thank you so much to our speakers for sharing their insights and their time and experience with us. We'll be ending this online discussion with a closing message from our speakers. Let's start with a good friend, Butch. Be optimistic naman.
You've trying to be honest too. Well, I am.
That's so not you, Butch.
when I was a boy, typhoon destroyed our home. And my father's very depressed, but he was able to rebuild it. And that's the way I believe it's going to be with COVID. We're going through a storm. It's taking quite long, but the Philippines will recover, will rebound, as the Inquirer says, and we'll get to experience the bright sunshine that comes after every storm. One thing we've learned from the pandemic is that we're all connected. No? Whether we like it or not, we're part of one human family. When somebody sneezes in a city in China that we've never heard of, people in New York, Italy, and Navotas get a cold and get sick. So we're all in this together, and hopefully we'll fight this and win it and come out into that sunshine that we are all looking forward to.
Now that's more like it, Butch. Thank you. Chut,
Thank you, Butch. Yeah, Chut, a message to our viewers.
Yeah, well, we have this goal to tech up the Philippines. And we go by the saying that tech up Pilipinas. And as part of our activities to make sure that we help tech up the Philippines is we have an MSME business banking hub that actually incorporates all banking and non-banking services for the MSMEs. We talked about transformation. So we have, in this business banking hub, we have a platform that can help the MSMEs start up their own online store. And within that online store, we'll be able to provide them the assistance to be able to reach their market, to be able to create marketing opportunities for their products. Then comes in the business or the banking facilities, which I won't discuss. But I think the message here is that our bank is committed to promote and empower our MSMEs to grow and achieve sustainable prosperity in this coming years. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you again, Chut. How about you, Raymond?
Salamat ako sa inyong lahat, Boss Butch. It's good to see you here. Mine's gonna come from a story. Actually, Paymaya is a Filipino fintech. If you look at our logo, Maya Bird yan. In fact, that's one of the most proud things that we are able to do. It's actually a Maya Bird because our dream is that every Filipino, every small business, every big business that is working in the Philippines has the financial technologies and the tools to be able to turn the Philippines into a digital ecosystem, a digital economy, if you may. And I think that's really the story of our logo. That's one of the things that I will tell. It's really from the hearts of the Filipinos. Pinoy kaming lahat. Founder namin is Pinoy. Everybody working in it is in the Philippines, trying to help the Filipino people. And I think that spirit, that we are the ones that will help the Filipino bounce back, is possibly my message to you guys. There's much to be optimistic about. I'm scared to use that word again, but there is much to be optimistic about. But I think the word bayanihan takes a totally different, mutated role with what's happening right now. So I'm very happy and optimistic that things are gonna get better.
I'm hoping for that too. How about you, Grace?
I'll start with the story also. Just kidding.
Go.
No, before this started, what I used to do, what I've been doing as part of, that's why I enjoy my job a lot, is I go around the Philippines engaging with different SMEs and learning about their businesses. Kasi sila yung expert ng businesses nila. And then in learning about what's important to them, their business operations, and then what makes things work, it helps us do our jobs even better. And to be positive about it, I'm looking forward to the day when all this is better, and I again have the chance to go around and kahit na sabihin mo may Zoom, though we continue to support the SMEs via Zoom, iba pa rin yung human touch. You see people face to face, you work, you see them side by side, you immerse, and then you understand their operations. That's very, very important. And one of the other things na nakikita talaga namin is the experiences and the advantages that we have at Globe. We put it in a small scale and then try to apply it and share it with our SMEs. Kunyari, taking care of our employees, we have Consulta MD. For a very very affordable price, you can show your employees that you care about their health and well-being also, and it's not all about work all the time. And then finding a partner that you can consult with, talk to about the struggles that you are having, and start reading up on different use cases, because it really helps. Look at success stories. So it makes you more optimistic and lets you parang have faith and hope for a better future, and we're going to get there. So I'm really looking forward to the time to go around and meet more people after this.
Actually, I have to thank you. I feel very optimistic right now, which I didn't feel before we started. So thank you guys because this has been quite an interesting discussion. Hope you'll agree. And again, we're grateful to our panel here for sharing their insights and learnings. And we hope that those of you who are tuned in learned a thing or two. Right, Dax?
Yeah, and sadly, that's it for our webinar today. Thank you again to all our panelists for their time and sharing their fantastic insights with us. Thank you for being a part of the Inquirer Project Rebound webinar series presented by the Philippine Daily Inquirer.
Yeah, thank you so much to our viewers, and I'd like to thank Inquirer.net, Mega Mobile, and Inquirer Academy. Continue reading the Philippine Daily Inquirer for authoritative news and features. Once again, I am Tina Dumlao of the Inquirer Business Section.
And I am Dax Lucas of the Inquirer Business Section. Thank you,
Thank
and
you,
enjoy
everyone,
the rest of
and
the day.
Thank you very, very much.
The Philippine Daily Inquirer would like to thank the following sponsors for making this live stream event possible. Coca-Cola Beverages Philippines Incorporated. Bangon Pinas, providing sustainable business opportunities for modern Filipino heroes. Globe My Business, your negosyo built better with Globe My Business. Pay Maya, Smart, Simple, Smart Ako. PLDT and Union Bank, bank the way you live. We'd also like to acknowledge the organizations that have partnered with us. Thank you to Philippine Association of National Advertisers, PANA, Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, PCCI, Registered Financial Planner Philippines, RFP. Philippine Business for Social Progress, PBSP. British Chamber of Commerce Philippines, BCCP. League of Corporate Foundation, LCF. Subdivision and Housing Developers Association, SHDA. Philippine Software Industry Association, PSIA. Public Relations Society of the Philippines, PRSP. Philippine Business for Education, PBED. Philippine Retailers Association, PRA. Philippine Association of Agriculturists Incorporated, PAA. The Shareholders Association of the Philippines, SharePhil. Philippine Disaster Resilience Foundation, PDRF. We'd also like to thank Inquirer.net, Mega Mobile, and Inquirer Academy.
We often ask, what's the story of your food? You step back and think of a great story to tell about your food. And sometimes
there are a lot of tools out there, online and digital technologies that can actually help your work a lot easier.
So I guess it starts with honestly 0 pesos. It's purely labor effort. So it's a starting point, creating a web page on top of a platform.
Welcome to Globe My Business Academy. Today, I'd like to share with you tips and tricks on how to make your hotel a success.
Part of the services we offer are travel business workshops as well, because we want to help travelpreneurs, aspiring travelpreneurs out there to start their own business.
I guess the business taxes, right? Yeah. And then you have your withholding tax, which is basically your payer withholding taxes on your behalf. Yeah.
Where am I? Welcome, Dante. Let me show you around.
Please, right legibly. Wait po. Teka.
Thank you. Next.
I need to pay my bills.
Ayun, sabihin nga, bin. Yan. Enroll nyo muna mga billers nyo.
What? With my UB Online, no need to enroll to pay my bills. Pwedeng free yung fund transfer and one valid ID lang, naka-open na ako ng account via app. I don't belong here.
Napansin mo ba, mas madalas ka nang magsabi ng stay safe kesa bye-bye? At aminin mo, nawili ka sa TikTok, hindi para mapasaya ang sarili, kundi para mapatawang iba. Napansin mo rin ba, na palagi na kayong kumpleto pag nagsisimba? At sino mag-aakala na ang daming maglalabas ang internet celebrities ngayon? Ilang pagkain na bang na-order mo? Kahit di ka naman gutom, uhaw ka lang makatulong. At nakailang care emojis ka nang nasend mula ng ECQ. Pansin mo, iba na bigla ang go-to playlist mo. Alam mo rin bang mas maraming naglalabas ng pera ngayon? Kahit taghirap? Alam mo kung bakit? Kasi patuloy mang magbago ang mundo, isang bagay ang mananatili.
Malalampasan din natin to.
Hindi tayo mawawalan ng pag-asa. Kaya patuloy namin pinapanatili, pinakamabilis at pinakamalawak ang inyong network. So we can all be connected by hope.
Mas pinadali at pinabilis na ang pag-accept ng payments para sa iyong online business with PayMaya Negosyo. Sa PayMaya Negosyo app, pwede kang tumanggap ng safe and contactless payments mula sa iyong customers anytime, anywhere. Via QR code, send money transfers, or bank transfers. Mobile number mo lang, pwede ka na nilang bayaran. Madali lang ang pag-sign up. I-download lang sa Google Play Store and register for free. Be a PayMaya Negosyo merchant in just 2 days with no monthly fees. Learn more about PayMaya Negosyo. I-visit ang www.paymaya.com/negosyo-merchant today.
The COVID-19 pandemic and the resulting lockdowns have dealt a heavy blow on the economy. Millions of Filipinos were left jobless, thousands of companies were forced to close, and thousands more have had to downsize to ride out the downturn. But all is not lost. Almost a year into the crisis, the Philippines has begun its journey to recovery with stimulus measures and policies in place. Filipino companies, groups, and individuals have also shown their resilience and are slowly regaining their footing. The Philippine Daily Inquirer, along with its sister companies, seeks to do its share to help the Philippines bounce back from this unprecedented crisis by doing what it does best: tell the stories that empower the Filipino. Through Project Rebound, the Philippine Daily Inquirer will share expert insights and inspiring stories of how businesses can accelerate their recovery, how to retool and recalibrate to survive and even thrive amid the COVID-19 pandemic in collaboration with the government, civil society, and the private sector. With its 67 million strong reach across multimedia platforms, the Inquirer Group is indeed in a favorable position to inspire a rebound from the crisis. Together, we can and will overcome.